Teaching using a primary resource. How to read for the students the resource. First, you have your students identify what they see, and they make a complete list in their notebooks. Then you have them identify what they know. Anything about that time period, what you're studying, anything that they think can relate to what you're having them examine. And then they have to hypothesize about how does it play into what they're studying, how might it be a part of it, and why that primary resource was selected for study. When those three steps are completed, you have the students share out their findings. You will find that the students will come up with things that you never noticed, or one group will find something very interesting and hypothesize it one way, and another group will do something else. Using primary resources and teaching them how to read them will change how they view history. Selecting an image. You can do this several different ways. One of the most interesting ways is to take one image and cut it up into sections and have teams examine different sections. As they share out, they put the entire image back together, and then they have to do the steps again to see if it changes their perspective. That's a very interesting way to look at it. When you are selecting an image, you need to be extremely careful that it is appropriate for their age, because some of the images you will find in history can be offensive to small children. And for the older children, you want to choose something that's not too simple. When selecting a document, documents are really great, and some of the websites will transcribe what you're looking at for you, so they can see an actual document from the Library of Congress and then the transcribed version, so it's easier to read, especially if it's a handwritten letter. The students need to understand that they can, even as you can see on the image on the slide, there's stamps on it that can give them some historical perspective and some historical reference. For older students, you can then have them take an iPad or a laptop and go do further research as to how it connects. Why would this be in the Library of Congress, or why would this be in a specific library? For younger students, they're not going to be able to handle that, and it becomes too much for them. So sometimes you have to give them, once they share out, some more information. When selecting a song, you need to have a copy of the words, the sheet music if possible, and then you also need to have the audio. You can split your teams up. One team can have the audio, one team can have the words, or you can do multiple songs at one time. Again, you're trying to get them to see why are the words written the way they are, what are they trying to do, what is the purpose of the song. It really gives the kids an understanding of how music is really reflective of a time period in history and how it also affects different dynamics with groups. It can be used to incite people to take action. It can be used to assuage people's bad feelings about a certain situation. It's just really interesting to see what the students will come up with in their perspective. As for selecting an artifact, these need to be hands-on things the kids can handle. You need to be careful if it's something you prize or it's delicate. You need to really warn them ahead. Please be extremely careful. Do not tell them what it's used for at first. Don't give them any information to say, hey, I just need you to identify this artifact. I think it comes from this time period, and I think it may tie into what we're studying, but I need you to be that investigator. Everything in using this process is really along the lines of the scientific method, because you're asking them to investigate, to hypothesize, and to come up with more information. If you have older students, you can have them do further research, and they can bring in different context for the different artifacts. But for the younger students, it's a harder thing to do.